Wednesdays are for people's elbows, super kicks, and springboard cutters. You know what that means. It's the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast hosted by Michael Davis on Boom Broadcasting, and it's time to pick up that mic. It's WrestleMania week right here on Boom Broadcasting. I'm your host of the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast, Michael Davis, and I want to say a special thank you to everyone who's been watching the content for WrestleMania week this week on Boom Broadcasting. I want to give a special shout out to King Rome himself, who was on Drop the Mic yesterday during its normal Wednesday afternoon, and we covered WrestleMania Night 1 predictions, and that was a blast. I appreciate him. First time he's ever been on Drop the Mic or Boom Broadcasting in general, and it definitely will not be his last time. So if you guys missed that, then you can go back and watch available on demand on the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. Night 1 WrestleMania predictions. But this isn't just one night anymore. It's 2 nights. And so since I brought in a first-time guest for Night 1, I went out and found somebody who does incredible content, whether it's wrestling related, whether it's sports related, whether he's debating whether Tim Tebow's a babyface or a heel. And I am bringing in, we'll call him Champ, because he is an undisputed champ right here, Champ Pryor. Man, it is awesome to have you on the Drop the Mic Wrestling Podcast for the first time. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Always a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure in order to be here. Watched your content a couple nights ago, right before the invite. And matter of fact, I was following you because, you know, everybody's in the group chat, what have you. And yeah, made sure I checked you out, man. You got a good thing going, man. Congratulations. Keep up the good work, man.
Man, I really appreciate that. I didn't expect those kind words to start Drop the Mic, but it's been pretty awesome just to see, like, and this isn't just a wrestling channel. If this is your first time tuning in, like, we have a bunch of stuff. Like, we had Dugout Debrief earlier this afternoon, Chris DeLuca talking about baseball. We have 3 from Deep 3 times a week, an NBA podcast, and he covered the play-in yesterday before the Miami Heat advanced this last night against the Chicago Bulls. So let's go. Hopefully Miami can pull it out tomorrow night, but that's enough for basketball. It is WrestleMania week, and so Champ, I hope you're good with some predicting some WrestleMania matches. And we got 6 matches slated on the card right now, and there's a spot for a 7th one, so I have to go ahead and ask. Randy Orton, he lost his WrestleMania match once Kevin Owens unfortunately got taken out with a neck injury. They had 7 matches on night 1, 6 on night 2. Do you expect Randy Orton to be somewhere on WrestleMania Sunday?
There's been a lot of speculation with me and the guys because every time The Rock comes in and he puts the 1, the 2, and the 3, there's speculation of who might be. Is there more than one? And is Randy Orton that one? There's always speculation, and the history's there. Remember, you know, him and Cody was once in the group called Legacy with Ted DiBiase. So the history is there. Not to mention, you know, Cody, he was holding up Cody Rhodes last year when he won the WWE title with Roman Reigns. So you just never know if he might be the reason that he calls Cody the title at WrestleMania. Now, he might not be in a match, but hey, there's been a lot of speculation of, hey, he could be the person that calls Cody Rhodes the title at WrestleMania. Like I said, the history is there. And like I said, if you ever notice, The Rock always do 1, 2, and then you are wondering if it's more than 1 or is it 2, or because, you know, Rock and Cena is 1 and 2, but who's that 3? It's kind of like it has that Bash at the Beach type feeling in 1996. So it's just like, wait a minute, is there a 3rd guy that has sold out to The Rock, or is it just John Cena? So I think that that might be a possibility. I think he's going to be active somewhere on that. It would not surprise me if he ends up costing Cody Rhodes the title.
Wow, that is interesting. Like, I'm expecting, you know, they've teased Nick Aldis maybe tearing off the suit and competing against Randy Orton. They've even teased Solo Sikoa, which I don't think would be a great move. But yeah, if Randy Orton doesn't have a match and he's the man who cost Cody Rhodes the title, that would be quite the that would be quite the moment. And we'll get to Cena and Cody, don't you worry. But we have another title match, and we end night one with the triple threat. And Champ, I think we start night two with a triple threat. Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Women's World Champion Iyo Sky. This is probably the three most talented women on the main roster, and they're all competing in a match. And dude, I kid you not, I am stoked, especially if they throw a swerve and they turn one of these women heel. Do you think in a match full of baby faces, one of these women turn their back on the fans?
I think it's Bianca Belair. I really think we're going to start seeing. Remember how she was at NXT at one point, that real heelish type character? You know, and you heard the boos the last couple of weeks too. You've heard them. So you start to wonder, is she going to turn heel? And is this going to lead up to something between her and Jade Cargill at this point? And if she's going to be on Naomi's side at a certain point, if that heel turn happens, especially if she's able to win the title. Especially if she's able to win the title. I think that now this does have certain vibes. Like, remember when Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H went at it at WrestleMania, and nobody was like, there's no chance that that Randy Orton is going to win, and he pulled it out. This has that vibe. But the thing is, I think they're going to use this as a heel turn for Bianca Belair. And I think depending on how Jade Cargill performs at WrestleMania, I think this is going to lead up to a long and drawn out storyline between her and Jade, with Jade chasing the title, because Jade is a singles person. She's not a tag team. It was good seeing them together for so much time. It's good. It has a feel good to it, but you wanted to see what she does on her own, much like she did at AEW, but on a higher level. Now that she has the training and everything else on the WWE level. It's always different when somebody comes in on the WWE level. And you saw it with many superstars, not just Jade. You saw it with Jericho. You saw how much better Goldberg became when he got there. I'm talking about the first time around back in 2003. You know, you saw how drawn out his matches became now that he was in the WWE. So it wasn't those quick matches like you saw in WCW. And you saw that with you know, another certain wrestler, which we would not say his name, you know, that was part of the Radicals, one of the main part of the Radicals, not Eddie Guerrero, but the other guy. But we saw that with him once he got to the WWE, and once that whole Radical group got to the WWE, how much better they were. But I think that this is certainly an opportunity to turn Bianca Belair into a heel, because everything, all the elements are there in order for her to be a heel. You know, your best friend, two of your friends are at odds, and eventually, as bad as we don't want to, between friends, you got to pick a side at one point. And I think that at a certain point, you know, you see how much back and forth they've been going back on Twitter. Everybody been keeping track on Twitter. Well, X, I will say. But you see how much her and Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair was going back and forth on X. And it's like, I'm wondering, is this a heel turn? And is this going to be reminiscent of a lot of things? Sort of like, you remember when Triple H, come to find out he was behind the whole thing when it came to Stone Cold back in 2000, him getting ran over?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it has that feel. And it's just like, it's just going to be that heel turn that finally puts everything over and bring everything to a head. But I really think Bianca Belair needs to be a heel. Rhea's been a heel before. I mean, you know, so is Iyo Sky. But we have not seen Bianca Belair on the main roster, I will say, as a heel. We saw her in NXT as a heel. I'm talking about the main roster as a heel. And sometimes you need a heel turn to be a breath of fresh air. Look at what it's doing to Naomi.
Oh,
It's digging deep into her character. So I think that Bianca Belair will be turning heel.
And King Roman and I talked about that yesterday when it came to Naomi, like just becoming more interesting. And I'll be honest, Champ, if you told me a year ago that Bianca Belair should turn heel, I would be like, absolutely not. This is the modern day women's version of John Cena, like how much work she does with kids and how much of a role model she is. But you look at Rhea Ripley, she can't be a heel. Like, no, the fans won't let her be a heel. Iyo
Mhm.
Sky, she can be a heel, but it is harder for her just with promo work. And Bianca Belair, again, like, especially Jade Cargill and Naomi, you made a really great point. Like, we could see Jade Cargill go in a face route and Bianca Belair go in a heel route, which would completely shock the fans. But will fans be shocked with the winner of this match? Who's walking out as the women's world champion?
Bianca Belair.
Okay.
I believe she does something shady in order to win,
Okay.
or Naomi helps her,
Mm.
and that's the beginning of it. Because when somebody helps you do something, then you don't know how to feel about it.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
you really don't know how to feel. It's just like, wait a minute, and then eventually it just puts on and on and on, and it's just like, okay, well, I gotta show gratitude.
Mm.
But I think that Bianca Belair is gonna end up coming out on top.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength. I'd like Rhea to get the title that, she was wronged out of with Iyo Sky, the title she was wronged out of, like dropping the title right before she set the record last year. But um I agree. I think Bianca Belair walks out as women's world champion. And somebody who was in the women's world title picture is now the WWE women's tag team champion alongside Raquel Rodriguez. And she's competing against Bayley and the women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria. And so I got a question to ask, because a lot of the internet is complaining and voicing their concern about these women's mid-card titles being introduced this year, and then neither the women's Intercontinental or the women's United States championships are being showcased and featured on WrestleMania in title matches. But Lyra Valkyria still made it on to the show. She has this mishmash tag team with Bayley. But do you think they went about this the right way, or would you have rather seen Lyra Valkyria potentially defend this in a fatal four-way like the men's Intercontinental title is?
No, they did it right. I believe you got to put your guys, and I do use that term loosely. You have to put your men and women, I will say, on there who's over, and these four superstars are over. If you really look at Liv, she's the Harley Quinn of the WWE. She's the Harley Quinn of the WWE. He doesn't want to see Liv. When you look at Raquel, she is like, the Catwoman of the WWE. It's like a personal bodyguard of some sort. So it's just like, it's kind of like the popular girls in school are going against the mean girls. So it's just like, that's how it is right about now. So they did it right. I understand that we're not going to have, that you don't have your Intercontinental and your U.S. champions, but I don't think fans understand this. This is the most stacked that women's wrestling has been. This is the most stacked. And when you really look at the men's mid card, it's not as, if you really look at the men's side versus the women's side, it's not even close of how stacked they are. It's not close, because in the mid card, they don't have a lot of guys in the mid card on the men's side. You have a few, but not these mega stars.
I don't know.
Liv is a mega star. Raquel is a mega star. When you look at the mid card on the men's side, the only mega star in there is LA Knight. If you really look at the Samoan Werewolf, he's still coming up. He's not he's over, but he's not, how Stone Cold would say, over as heck as of yet.
Oh.
All of these young women are over, and that mid card in the women's division is stacked. So this is the most stacked it's ever been. So of course somebody's going to get left out, because if you put everybody in there, then the show is going to be 11 hours. Plus, you have stand and deliver to worry about as well.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think people are factoring that in. But you got to put your over. This is the super show. when you have a super show, you have to put the most over characters on there. And these are the most overest women in the WWE right about now. And like I said, the mid card and tag team division and the mid card for the women are stacked. They're stacked at this point. And either one of them can be main event. Either one of them can be champion. So you got to think about that as well. So, yeah, I don't have no problem with that. Like I said, if you really had the choice to see Liv or Chelsea Green, who you want to see?
I mean, I'm choosing Liv, who,
Yeah.
honestly, above and beyond, did amazing things as women's world champion. I'm shocked that she and Rhea aren't running it back at WrestleMania, but I'm not going to complain about Iyo and Bianca wrestling Rhea Ripley either. But it is good that Liv, all the work she's done over the course of the last year, she's being recognized at WrestleMania. You got Bayley, who I could have easily put in as a Royal Rumble winner back-to-back years in her challenge, Rhea. And then Lyra Valkyria, somebody who's up and coming that you want to build around. And yeah, this women's division's stacked. And you just look at NXT where you have Stephanie Vaquer or Julia or Jordan Grace. And the women's division's in good hands. They have 4 matches, 2 each night. So they are being showcased. And the only question now is, does Lyra walk out as a double champ with Bayley, or do Liv and Raquel retain? I'm of the personal belief, Champ, that we get Liv and Raquel retaining. It just makes sense. And maybe Bayley eats the pin.
I'm right along with you on that one. And hey, it makes more sense for Liv and Raquel to have the title. Like I said, it's kind of like the Mean Girls versus, the Popular Girls. And guess what? I think the Mean Girls win this one.
Hey, the Mean Girls win. It's not a bad thing, but I did disagree with you a little bit about the men's mid card not being stacked, because this fatal 4-way for the Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker, he's up and coming. I mean, I feel like he just gains momentum week in, week out. You got Penta, who arrived earlier this year, and his entrance is captivating. His moveset is captivating. I'm glad they've kept him and Rey Fenix apart from Raw and SmackDown for them to build their individual careers before they inevitably come together. And then you got the Judgment Day drama. I mean, Finn Balor, is he the leader? Is he not the leader? Is he losing control of the group? Dominik Mysterio, one of the biggest heels in WWE and has been the last 2 to 3 years. Dude, this fatal 4-way is incredible. It's going to be an awesome Intercontinental Championship match. I can see it going literally to any of these guys. But I also see Judgment Day potentially having the final crack in the armor. And I don't know, is this when we see it implode?
Hey, with Dominik, you just never know.
He turned on his own father.
It's just like it's kind of like, look, you are free, but I gotta watch you with both my eyes at a certain point. And it's just like you just never know. And Dominik is never, I would never say never, but him as a babyface is never like, you know what? I don't think I want you as a babyface. And I think Rhea said it best. I think the Judgment Day stopped being the Judgment Day once, the Terror Twins left. When you had Damian Priest and Rhea left, they made the group stand out a little bit. And they had that darkness to their character. They had that real good darkness to their character. Now with this Judgment Day, it's like, all right, it seemed like the popular kids that kind of came together with the mean kids just a little bit. But it's still cool, but it's not like it's losing its luster just a little bit. And plus, when you win a title, especially if Dominik is to win this title, I think that's it for the Judgment Day. Remember what happened with the Nation of Domination? When The Rock won the Intercontinental title, he no longer want to be beholden to Farouk. So, hey, don't be surprised. I think this is the end of Judgment Day. Now, do I think this is the end of Liv and Dom? No, I don't think that's it. But I think this is slowly but surely the end of the Judgment Day. And wouldn't mind seeing Dominik win this title. Wouldn't mind seeing him win this title. I would not mind seeing him win.
Is
But
that your pick?
no, I'm going with the guy from Kennesaw State. I'm going with the guy from Kennesaw State, from my home state, Braun Breaker. The new, he's like Goldberg and he's like Goldberg, his father, and his uncle all into one. He has the power of all three of those guys, but yet the agility. You know, and I think Rick Steiner was very, very underrated as a wrestler. He was very, very underrated. And people always put him in a box because as the other brother, but people don't understand before even the Steiner brothers how integral he was in the Varsity Club with him and Dr. Death Steve Williams. You know, so
shout out right there. Let's go.
Yeah, Dr. Death. Everybody, look, Dr. Death Steve Williams is more than just a guy that got put in the Brawl for All, that career got ended. Before the Brawl for All and back in the day during the territory days, and even in WCW, he was a man among men. So big shout out to Dr. Death Steve Williams, the late great Dr. Death Steve Williams. So I don't think people want to acknowledge that. You know, he was an integral part of the Varsity Club. So I think that Rick needs more flowers, you know, and I hope that as his time goes along, Braun Breaker, I hope that a lot of the younger generation starts looking into Rick Steiner. I mean, one of the most important matches, arguably in WWE history, occurred at WrestleMania 9 against, you know, the Steiner brothers and the Headstringers. And the most memorable part of that match is when Rick Steiner caught, I think it was Rikishi, he caught him in midair and slammed him on the ground while he was on the shoulders of Rikishi's brother. So yeah, we got to start giving more homage to the older wrestlers. I understand that Scott Steiner had the louder mouthpiece, you know, because, you know, his voice was louder, but guess what? Rick Steiner was that dude at one point. And you love the Bulldog, you know, the dog-faced gremlin. People don't understand. He got the barking from the dog-faced gremlin himself, and that was his father. So yeah, we was barking back in the 90s in WCW. So
y'all just got like a really good history lesson right there. If you're new to the wrestling industry and you're like, hey, what is this WrestleMania week? And you're one of our new followers, like, this is why we're wrestling fans, is because we can look back very nostalgically at people we grew up watching and just be like, wow, we can see their work be recognized through other wrestlers, maybe relatives or other people throughout the time that we're wrestling fans. And you expect Braun Breaker to retain. I think this would be the perfect time to get the Intercontinental title off of him to where he's not pinned in a singles match and he can elevate himself to potentially a World Heavyweight Championship match. And I feel like, you know, you said you don't mind Dominik winning. I feel like Dirty Dom, or I'm sorry, Liv's Daddy Dom wins this match. I think he actually pins Finn Balor. And then 24 hours later, Finn's like, hey, man, you had to do what you had to do. Let's go out and celebrate you. And this is when Judgment Day turns on Finn Balor. And Dominik gets to introduce his new member of the Judgment Day that he's been wanting to bring in for several months. And I feel like maybe it's not a, hey, Judgment Day is over, but hey, this is Dominik Mysterio's version of Judgment Day. He is the leader with his, you know, puppet strings being pulled by Liv Morgan, of course. And we get this new member who I don't know who it would be, but I know Dirty Dom has something up his sleeve, kind of like Logan Paul always has something up his sleeve. And he's got AJ Styles. Dude, I know this is going to be a great in-ring match and everything, like Logan Paul always brings it, but man, it hurts like seeing how stacked this roster is and being like, oh, we're giving a match to Logan Paul. And we're probably wasting one of AJ's last prime WrestleManias with Logan Paul. Are you down for this match, or could this just be a dud? Do you think it might even be match of the weekend?
It could be. Logan Paul, although I'm not a big fan of him or his brother at this point, I really am not. I'm not a fan. You know, I watched him and I watched his brother face Titan because I just wanted to see Mike Tyson just flash back to 1987 and just knock him out. But that didn't happen, in which I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I'm like, is Tyson just going to break that promise that he did so he can beat him up? But for all the hate that he has, if he was a full-time wrestler, he would be one of the greatest heels that you ever want to see. And as much as you love to hate him, he has the charisma, he has the look, he has the presence, he has the aura. And look, this is AJ Styles. I've never seen AJ Styles put on a bad match. Never. I've never seen one, even the days back in TNA. And when you think about it, I've never seen Logan Paul in a bad match. I've never seen him I'm talking about a match that just stuck the joint up. I've never seen him in that type of match. But as much as I don't like Logan Paul, I think that AJ Styles I'm hoping that AJ Styles goes over on him. I think this has a lot of upside to it. And look, for the main event's sake, you better hope this doesn't steal the show, because you're going to have a lot to live up to. Because like I said, I've never seen these two young men have a bad match where it's just like you just left there like, ugh, and just eerie and disappointed. So I think this has a lot of potential. Do I wish that AJ Styles was higher up on the card and fighting for a title? Yes, because he's already said he's not going to be wrestling until he's 50. And, you know,
He's getting close.
And he's getting up there. You don't really, one thing, you don't realize how older, I would say, these wrestlers are until their age comes out of their mouth. It's just like, I didn't realize how old The Undertaker was when I was a child until he said something. I'm like, wait a minute, ain't no, because these guys, they look great. I mean, they wrestle all the way into their 40s and 50s, and they look great. They look like they're in their 30s for years to come, and their body barely changes. It's like The Rock. He's in his 50s right now and looks a little bit better than he did when he's in his 30s. So
I know.
It's just like these guys drink from the fountain of youth, and they age like facial wise, and then they get mature, but it's like their bodies, it's just like they don't age. It's just like, although they put punishment on, Kurt Angle still looks great. A lot of these guys look still great. So yeah, I mean, I understand that he's a little bit up there, but I mean, he still looks great though.
And AJ Styles, I'm glad you brought up the age, because he turns 48 this summer. He turns 48. And so if he's saying he doesn't want to wrestle till 50, this is probably, he's got 2 WrestleManias after this before he turns 50, at age 48 and age 49, right before he turns 50 in a couple years. So one of his last WrestleManias will probably be against Logan Paul. And we have to just take that with what it's worth. And obviously, Karrion Kross has been as part of the buildup for this match, while Logan Paul has been a part-timer and doing his impulsive podcast. So I'm going to run this theory by you. I'm expecting AJ Styles to win, but it's going to be that aggressive Georgia Bulldog that Karrion Kross is trying to pull out of him. Am I off base for that?
No, you're not. And I'd love to see that. AJ Styles is more phenomenal when he's aggressive. That ultra aggressiveness, that super aggressiveness, when he's just risking it all on every single go, he's at his best. So I'm hoping that you're right, to be honest with you. I'm hoping that you're right. Matter of fact, I have my fingers crossed right about now, hoping that you're right. So yeah, I don't think you're off base with that, man. So I mean, let's cross our fingers and hope that let's cross all our fingers at this point, and let's just hope that that's what he's doing, and if that happens, we should prove to get an even greater match.
Hey, I just tried crossing my fingers and crossing my toes, because I want to see it too. And we have a sports show that I host, Out of Pocket. So hey, just so we know, that take was not out of pocket. AJ Styles, bring your Georgia Bulldog out to beat Logan Paul. And it's going to take a nasty aggressiveness for AJ Styles to win, just like it's going to take an aggressiveness from Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre. It's a Sin City street fight in Sin City itself, Las Vegas, WrestleMania 41. Champ, there's always this match at WrestleMania where they don't get the world title opportunity, but they recognize they were a big, intricate part of the program in the last year, and they still want to get them on the card, and they find a way to get them in a one-on-one match. And this year, that is Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. Now, this goes back to even a year ago where Drew McIntyre finally won a world title in front of fans, and Damian Priest comes in and cashes in after CM Punk stuck his nose in Drew McIntyre's business. And then a year later, it's like they cost each other over and over again the opportunity to go to WrestleMania and compete for a world title. And I'm going to be honest, like AJ Styles, Logan Paul might be a banger in the ring, but McIntyre and Priest will be a banger in the arena. This could go anywhere. It's a Sin City street fight. They might go all the way out of Allegiant Stadium, and this is going to be a banger. And there's a lot of people who are talking about who could be next for the World Heavyweight Champion, whether it be Gunther or Jey Uso. There's a lot of people talking about who could be next for WWE's champion, Cena or Cody Rhodes. I feel like Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre, whoever wins this match, if they don't continue the feud after WrestleMania, this winner needs to be in front of the line for a title opportunity at potentially Backlash. I know it's not out of pocket, but am I for that?
No. I think that, look, these are two former world champions. Look, it has the Diesel Undertaker feel from WrestleMania 12. The only difference is this is a street fight. You know, remember when Diesel cost the Undertaker the title against Bret Hart. Then Diesel got snatched up under the ring by the Undertaker. And if you really look at Damian Priest's character, it's very, very Undertaker-esque. Not as mysterious or the same mystique, but it's very Undertaker-esque. You know, when you read Reddit, you see a lot of little disparaging things about Damian Priest's character, about him being the Undertaker, but, you know, not as a lot more colorful language, but it's very, very Undertaker-esque. But yeah, two former world champions going at it. Like I said, it's kind of like the Diesel versus the Undertaker match at 12. You know, it's just like two guys who cost each other over a period of time, and they are just there to go at it. And you got to think about this. I have never seen a bad street fight at WrestleMania. And we can take it all the way back to WrestleMania 13 with the Nation of Domination versus the Road Warriors. We can take it all the way up to Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon. I have never, ever seen a bad street. Even when Shane McMahon had his street fight at WrestleMania, I've never seen a bad street fight at WrestleMania. So you're right on the money. This will be a banger for the ages.
Well, who's winning this banger? Who you got, McIntyre or Priest?
You know what? Drew McIntyre is the more aggressive one. I can see him being a little bit more aggressive than Damian Priest. I can see him digging into that place where he has to and pulling it right out. Excuse me.
Well, dude, I'm like 50-50 on this one. There's so many matches, by the way. I mean, I remember a time where WrestleMania and every single pay-per-view, you looked at the card and you're like, okay, like we couldn't do a predictions episode because we would agree all the time. Like it was so cookie cutter obvious what was happening. This is one of the, I don't know, like there's 13 matches announced on the card so far, and this is one of maybe like 6 or 7 that are just like it's a coin flip. And I do agree Drew McIntyre is my favorite to win, but if Damian Priest won, then I would not bat an eye. But just with like Drew McIntyre, especially getting that opportunity cost by him last year, I think it means a lot more for Drew McIntyre to win this year and feel like he avenged his loss. And that leads us to the match we've been teasing all episode. The American Nightmare, the current quarterback of WWE, against the old quarterback and the guy who turned his back on his fans, John Cena. Now, this build has been interesting. We got the heel turn everybody wanted 20 years ago. But I'll be honest, like even with the build, I don't know how much this delivers in the ring. Cody is in his prime, and this is not Super Cena. This is not prime John Cena we're watching. Do you think this match delivers in the ring? Because, I mean, we just talked about night 2. Like, it is in-ring heavy, and it's going to be incredible. Do you think this match going on last will live up, or do you think fans will walk away disappointed that we didn't get this match with both men in their prime?
It's going to deliver. I think it will deliver.
Okay.
I really do. If you really look at this, they haven't really been touching a lot. They haven't really been touching a lot. And you see this with certain WrestleMania matches. We saw it with the Hogan and Warrior. You saw it with, a lot of other matches. You saw it with, anytime you don't have a match where they're touching a lot, they may have had 1 or 2 confrontations the entire time. And that's where Cody hit the crossroads on Cena. So they're not doing a lot of touching for a reason. They're building that anticipation. What's going to happen when they do start getting in there and they start roughing each other up? You got to think about this. They say this ain't Super Cena, but is it? Because the thing is, this is a John Cena that will do anything to win. And people got to stop acting like we ain't seen this John Cena before. We saw him in 2003.
Oh.
We saw this in 2003. And I'm glad. I'm so happy that he did not give the fans what they wanted. Everybody was expecting new music, new ring gear. Everybody was expecting him to come out in all black, change his hair, do certain things. I'm glad that he did not. Because guess what? The heel turn wouldn't have been valid then. Everybody would have cheered. Everybody would have cheered. And so that was great that he did not do that. He kept everything the same. Because guess what? If you want me to change, I'm going to disappoint you and stay the same. And the thing is, look, people might disagree. I think John Cena's going over on this match. I really think that he is. And I think that, look, they're going to bring out the best route to go is Super Cena. Let Cody Rhodes give him the crossroads a couple times and then let him hit one attitude adjustment, and then that's it. Let it go long and draw it out. Let it go long and draw it out, and let him hit him with one attitude adjustment. Let him be Super Cena. Let him be that. I mean, like I said, this is WrestleMania. I think that John Cena is going to go over on it. I really do think that, because right now it's like it could go either way, and you don't really know where it's going to go. And I think Super Cena goes over on it. I think we see reminiscence of the prime PG era Cena. I think we start seeing that. We're not going to see him dominating matches. Not going to see him dominate. But we're going to see at one point in the match where he hits one FU. I think if he hits one attitude adjustment, excuse me. If he hits one of those.
Cena, so.
But if he hits that and he's able to get a 1, 2, 3, that's remnants of Super Cena. Because remember, when he was Super Cena, it only took one. When he started facing guys like Bobby Lashley, it took 2 or 3. But when he was Super Cena, it only took one. And I think they need to dig into that bag. Now, I believe that this match is going to be overbooked to death, much like they did last year. And I don't think the Taker is going to be involved. There's a lot of speculation that Stone Cold and The Rock are going to rehash that beef that they had. There's been a lot of speculation because Stone Cold said he was going to be at WrestleMania. He's at Fan Fest this weekend. So he's at Fan
Cody's
Fest.
Back if he needs to.
Yes. And guess what? This is not the first time he's had somebody's back when, they was in a pay-per-view. Remember Rock versus Triple H, 2000 Backlash. And Vince McMahon
Dude, that's one of my favorite Backlash moments.
Yeah. He said, I'm going to put somebody in The Rock's corner, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it would just be poetic justice if they just rehash that rivalry just one more time. I mean, bridging the gap between the Attitude, the PG era, and now what I like to call the Netflix era. I don't think this era has a name as of yet, but I call it the Netflix era. But yeah, I really think that John Cena's going to go over on him. The mic work has been good. I'm glad that he did not change anything, and I'm glad that we got a chance to see how ruthless that Cody Rhodes can be on the mic on the WWE level. We saw this in AEW.
Yeah,
We
we
saw
did.
how ruthless he can be on the mic in AEW. And people just thought that John Cena was gonna just tongue lash him on the mic. No, Cody had other ideas. But like I said, they did a marvelous job of not touching a lot. They did a marvelous job of that. And that's why I believe that Cena's gonna go over on him, man. And like I said, nothing sells tickets more than someone chasing the title. This is, I mean, if you really think about it, Cody Rhodes is equivalent to what John Cena was back in the PG era, and equivalent to what Hulk Hogan was back in the Golden era. So I mean, he's gonna get it back. But I think on this night, I think this night belongs to John Cena.
Well, and see, as we've went through our predictions for each match and we've been talking, and I'm like, hey, like, this could go 50-50, but you and I have agreed for the most part. I think we were on opposite sides when it came to the fail four-way, but we are on complete opposite sides right here. I mean, the champ is here. Champ Pryor is here. The American Nightmare is the champ, but the champ is not John Cena. Like, he will not be saying that Monday night on Raw on Netflix, because it would just like ruin everything. I really think it would, because you've built Cody up against Roman Reigns, and he's the quarterback. He's the new guy. And John Cena, his entire career has been putting the next guy over. And there is no more important guy to put over right now than Cody Rhodes. You can't have Cody lose to somebody who physically isn't in his prime anymore. And John Cena, he's retiring not after WrestleMania. He's retiring at the end of the year. If he
Mm-hmm.
wins the title now, I mean, he's already said he's just going to like leave with the championship. Like, and I feel like the chase is going to be John Cena, like, throughout the entire year, chasing number 17. And I see a scenario where Cody retains, John Cena starts to look and say, wow, I turned my back on the fans and it got me nowhere. Let me snap out of it. I'm sorry. Start to earn the fans' respect back. And then towards the end of the year, Cody won't be champion. There will be a heel that supersedes him, maybe even a Drew McIntyre. And John Cena is like, okay, now I can challenge a heel champion and then go out as a babyface 17-time world champion. But as much as I disagree with you, there is equal opportunity for what you said to be true, because this is that WrestleMania where literally anything can happen. And I'm so glad, whatever era we want to call it, I'm so glad that we have that opportunity. And so Cena and Cody, it's going to be incredible, guys. But what's also incredible is you joining me for Drop the Mic today. I got your Instagram scrolling at the bottom, but hey, champ, tell us where we can find you and what you got coming down the road.
First of all, thank you very, very much for having me on your show. Thank you for inviting me here. Like I said at the beginning, it's a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor to be here. Hope to have me back pretty soon, maybe after WrestleMania. I'm on the Undisputed GOAT podcast. That is my podcast with my guys, Flash and BRF Sports. We do it every Saturday. Unfortunately, we won't be doing it this Saturday. We will be watching WrestleMania, but I will be bringing it back next Saturday. I will be on the Sports PSP podcast this Friday. We call it the Highlight of Friday Nights for a reason, and you can best believe we will be talking about some wrestling on that show. And also follow me on TikTok, Undisputed World Champion. We're at 21,000 on TikTok. I don't know how much longer we're going to be on TikTok, depending on how things go. But for now, I will say give me a follow on TikTok. And on Instagram. I do a lot of collaboration on Instagram with Sports PSP. Shout out to Sports PSP, by the way. If it wasn't for Sports PSP, I wouldn't be doing podcasts right now because he is the one that gave me my first break. I didn't know what I was doing on podcasts. He was like, "Hey, let's do a pod. Come on my show, do a podcast." I was like, I rehearse because I used to rehearse my videos before I posted them on TikTok. So that's what happened. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing on it. He said, "Hey, just relax and I'll guide you through it." And ever since then, I've been a mainstay on the show. So shout out to Sports PSP. He's at 100,000 followers on YouTube, man, and I'm so proud of that young man. He's like a brother to me, man. So big shout out to PSP, and I will be on his show on Friday at 9:00. That's what I have this week. And like I said, on every day on TikTok, I'm pushing out content every single day. But Mr. Davis, thank you for inviting me on your show. I really appreciate you. And as we do on the Sports PSP podcast and on the Undisputed GOAT podcast, I do salute you, sir.
Hey, I salute you. You first of all for your service. Anyone who can see you on Instagram sees that you served in the military. So I mean, I should be the one saluting you. And also shout out PSP because he was the one who connected both of us. And I was really worried. I was like, man, if I like reach out to him, like, is he going to want to be on? Is he going to be like? But dude, this was an absolute blast, man. You're just like King Rome yesterday. I collabing with you for the first time. I would definitely want to keep collabing because this was a blast. Get and talk wrestling, get and talk WrestleMania. Yeah, go follow him on Instagram, on TikTok, on his YouTube channel as well. He's doing really great stuff. Yeah, go find his stuff with Tim Tebow being a babyface or a heel. I dude, as soon as I saw that video, I'm like, all right, I gotta collab with these guys. But yeah, it's been awesome. This has been the night 2 predictions episode for WrestleMania. We had night 1 yesterday with King Rome. You guys can go back and watch on demand a little bit from Boom Broadcasting. For WrestleMania week, we might have a very special prediction panel tomorrow. So you want to stay tuned for that announcement regarding Wrestling of Destiny podcast host Sean Lucas having some people on. And we want to give you some alternative content as well. So Saturday and Sunday, starting at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to do a live stream kickoff pre-show before WrestleMania. Myself, the Boom Boys, who knows who will pop up in there. We'll be covering pre-show. And since our nightcap host, Mouthing Off with Mike, will be enjoying WrestleMania from Las Vegas, he won't be doing a nightcap. So we might even use Sunday's pre-show as like, hey, what really did happen on night 1? Because it's going to be a whirlwind, and we appreciate you guys so much, and we appreciate Champ for joining us on Drop the Mic again, sir. You will be back if you would like to be back. That invitation is open.
Yes, sir. Of course. My hey, the DMs is always open, man. Just hit me up and I'll come show up, man. Hey, it's always a party. And I'm always, as long as you invite me to the party, I'm down to show up.
All right, I'm gonna slide in your DMs right here, and we'll get you scheduled back. But guys, we appreciate you so much for watching Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast on Boom Broadcast, and we hope you're enjoying this entire WrestleMania week content. Don't forget to go check out those night 1 predictions if you haven't. I also dropped a video of what WWE needs to do this week before WrestleMania, and I compared WrestleMania 21 and 31 to what WrestleMania 41 needs to do a decade and 2 later. But guys, for Champ, for myself, Michael Davis, this has been the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast, only on Boom Broadcasting. And wherever you don't drop your mic, and we'll see you back here next time.